Hello and welcome to another edition of Agenda 2063 TV show, the only show in Ghana, the region, continent, telling you authentic stories about Africa's integration. And even though we spent the better part of the series talking about aspects of the African Continental Free Trade Area, we're always going to come back to the issue of Agenda 2063. Today, though, we have yet another special one. A few weeks ago, we did one with Kenya, and today we're going to have another 4X for looking at profiling Malawi. We don't hear so much about Malawi, what Malawi is doing around preparation for AfTA. So we felt that it was important to get that perspective. So we thankfully were able to get in touch with Mr. Maestro. He works with the Ministry of Trade, but he will be in the better position to tell us a little bit about who he is. So, Mr. Maestro, welcome to Agenda 2063 TV show in Accra.
Thank you.
Nice to see you on Zoom and see Lake Malawi in the background there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. It's a pleasure.
We are
to be
surrounded by
on the TV.
Artificial lights, but nonetheless, we hope that one day there will be an exchange.
Quite
Anyway,
correct. No, I would be glad to host you in Malawi one of these days.
Oh, amen, 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 all of us. That'd be great. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Maestro, who you are and what you do at Ministry of Trade? Then we'll proceed with the interview. Thank you.
Okay, all right, fine. Yeah, so Maestro Msokera. I work as a Principal Trade Officer in the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So I joined the ministry sometime in 2013 as an Industrial Development Officer. At that time, the scope of my work mostly involved, the implementation of the Malawi industrial policy, but also developing, projects aimed at, enhancing industrial development for the country. And in 2019, I was redeployed to the trade section on promotion. And that's the position that I'm still holding now as a Principal Trade Officer. And largely, my duties involve mostly trade facilitation, implementation of the Malawi trade policy, also maybe working with the key stakeholders like the exporters, sensitizing them on market opportunities at the international market. But also we do some work in relation to business licensing, ensuring that we have got seamless trade, but also legitimate trade in the country. And talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, I have also been quite involved in the working towards the coming up with the position paper for Malawi, undertaking analysis, that would help Malawi to come up with a position on the Africa Continental Free Trade area. We have also been carrying out quite a number of sensitization meetings with key stakeholders, in particular the cross-border traders, sensitizing them more about the opportunities that are there in the continent of Africa under the framework of the Africa Continental Free Trade area. As maybe you might be aware, Malawi is actually one of the founding countries that actually signed the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement in Kigali. And that was in 2018, March, when we also signed the agreement. And we, upon getting an endorsement from the private sector, who are the key stakeholder and the stakeholder that is actually involved in the process of trading with the international market, we proceeded to ratify the agreement. That was in 2021 after depositing the instruments of ratification in the African Union Commission. So throughout this process, I've been actively involved in ensuring that Malawi is party to the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. As you also know, there's a requirement that member states also gazette the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, implementation modalities, and we did that as a country also. And I was in the forefront, ensuring that that process is actually achieved. And I must say that recently we also, created a column, an after column in our tariff book that will allow, exporters and importers to actually, declare their transactions at the border without any problem. We have in our tariff book a column on SADC, on COMESA, and we have just introduced also a column for after, just to facilitate trade under this agreement. And the most recent activity that actually I was also very much involved is the development of the National Africa Continental Free Trade Area implementation strategy for Malawi. So we did this last year, and through a consultative process with the private sector. And as we stand now, Malawi is actually ready for implementation. And really what we are doing is to motivate the private sector to take advantage of the opportunities presented by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the priority areas that we have outlined in our implementation strategy, so that we can enhance intra-African trade, so that we can push Malawi goods on the Africa continent, but also be in a position to get some products of interest to Malawi from fellow member states.
Okay, that's quite a lot of things that Malawi has done. So therefore, I'm supposing we can suppose from all this that Malawi has an implementation strategy for the AfTA, right?
Quite correct.
Oh, fantastic! That's good to know. I'm very happy about this, because sometimes it's not so clear when you're going through the literature, seeing which countries have an implementation strategy. And I know that ECA, the Economic Commission for Africa, had been supporting a lot of countries on that. Some countries were not so ready and so on. So it's good to know Malawi has one. Ghana, as you will know, is well known for cocoa. If Malawi wanted to export products to Ghana, what would be its major cash crop, or that it would seek to export to Ghana for us to start doing business between Ghana and Malawi?
Okay. So according to our analysis and what we have presented in our national implementation strategy, Ghana is indeed one of those markets that Malawi is also earmarking, because all along we have been mostly trading with the COMESA member states, SADC member states. These are the free trade areas that we have been party to for a long time. So the coming in of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area for Malawi opens up the market, in particular for countries in West Africa, countries in North Africa, because we didn't have any FTA or free trade area with these countries, and really Ghana would be singled out as one of those countries of interest for Malawi. So in terms of priority value chains that we are looking at, which we can export to most of the West African countries, including Ghana, we are looking at products like the oil seeds. We are looking at products like legumes. These are products that Malawi has a competitive advantage on. We are talking about products like sugar, black tea, green tea, our analysis shows that we really have a competitive advantage in these areas, and we can actually strengthen our trade cooperation with the Western African countries like Ghana. Talking about countries even in North Africa, which are new markets also to us. We are looking at products like tobacco. As you might be aware, tobacco is our main forex earner. And for a long time, we have been trading with the European countries like Belgium, America also. And we see the coming in of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area as a framework that is going to, also lead to trade to divert from these traditional destination markets to African countries who also demand these kind of products, particularly in the North Africa, like Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia. We're looking forward to push some of these commodities like tobacco. So yeah, to answer your question, would be looking forward to trade with Ghana, in terms of these particular value chains.
Fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that, because for the longest times, before the African Continental Free Trade Area became the talk of town, there was a lot of, conversation about trading with African countries, but it had mostly been done at the regional level. Now that the continent has opened up, we are happy to know that there are other countries out there that we can really do business with. But for a long time, Malawi had not gotten a look in because they have been dwarfed by your Southern African neighbors, Zimbabwe, Southern Africa itself, and so on. So even for those who, let's say, who are uninitiated on where Malawi sits, can you even kindly tell us where exactly Malawi sits on the southern part of the continent, so that they get a sense in their mind where they need to go when they go into Malawi?
Hello, Emmanuel. Sorry, you lost me, I think.
Yes, I think there was something wrong with your line. Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anyway, glad to have you back.
I think there was a network drop here. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Glad to have you back. I was asking, for those who don't know where Malawi is, kindly situate it for us. These days I don't want to take things for granted. I remember someone was saying 2 weeks ago in a presentation on AfCFTA,
yes,
he asked his master's students, okay, whether any of them had heard of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Masters. 50% of the class said no. So, well, these days you can't take anything for granted. So
correct.
Help us understand where Malawi is, so that for those who don't go to North Africa by
yeah.
They need to know that it's in Southern Africa, not anywhere else but Southern Africa.
Yeah, correct. Okay, all right. Now, Malawi is situated in the southeastern part of Africa, okay. And bordered by countries like Tanzania in the north, and Zambia in the western side, and Mozambique in the southern part, as well as the southeastern part. So these are our neighboring countries, 3 countries. So we are situated in the southeastern part of Africa, just below Tanzania.
Okay, great. And you do quite a bit of business with Mozambique and Zimbabwe, your neighbors, right? Under SADC, generally.
Yeah.
Before AfCFTA came, that was the kind of business you're doing. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Actually, most of our trade is with countries like Zambia, Zimbabwe also, but our major trading partner is South Africa. Is our topmost import source. So we get most of our imports from South Africa. But in terms of export, we export a lot to Europe, countries like Belgium, the UK. So That's why I was saying that the coming in of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is actually a game changer, because we foresee that we are going to increase our intra-Africa trade and begin to trade more with more countries within Africa, especially when it comes to exports. But in terms of imports, our major import source is South Africa.
South Africa. And then you mentioned Zambia. So what are the kind of things that you export to Zambia that you could continue to develop the let's say the value chain on now that AfCFTA is here? How could you begin to amplify that relationship with Zambia?
Yeah, so with Zambia, mostly our trade, our most commonly exported products, the agricultural commodities, but also a bit of beverages, mostly go to Zambia, in particular the eastern side of Zambia, where it's so close for the residents there to come to Lilongwe to import most of the products. Whereas in terms of imports from Zambia, we import products like cement is one of the major imported products from Zambia. Also items like steel are some of the items that we also import from Zambia.
Okay, and so Malawi, cement in Malawi, how would it compare in the region to something like Dangote? Because we know that Dangote cement has become a major thing. How would you be able to build it up in a way that you can still control it as cement in Malawi, in a way that would not be disrupted by, let's say, the likes of Dangote? And rather complement it.
Yeah. I think let's talk about indeed complementing. In terms of our demand for cement, we also have good cement manufacturers in Malawi. We have about 3, but their production capacity is not sufficient to meet the demand in Malawi. So most of the cement that we import from Zambia is to help us close the demand gap that is there, which the local supply cannot meet. And there in Zambia, there are also, Dangote is also there, is one of the products that we import from Zambia. Dangote has got a plant in Zambia, and it's good for intra-Africa trade, because we are looking at an investment from investors on the continent, which as Malawi we are proud of. And again, we feel that with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area as well, we could also encourage and motivate investors also within Africa to actually come and invest and exploit the opportunities that are there in the cement industry. In Malawi, we still have got deposits for raw materials that could actually help us to scale up production for cement, because the construction industry here is, and we foresee that demand will keep rising. So, one of the things that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is also bringing on the table is regional value chain development. Yeah. So through regional value chain development, or through cooperation with the member states like Zambia, member states like Mozambique, member states like Tanzania, we can actually develop the industry to the extent that maybe through production that can actually take place within these member states can actually be pushed and be exported to other countries who have also got a deficit in terms of cement supply. So this is good for regional integration. This is good for regional value chain development and for the development of intra-African trade.
Mhm. Let's shift the conversation now to food a little. I read the other day that, to be honest with you, I was quite surprised that West Africa is the has this so-called yam belt. So the countries of Ghana, Benin, Togo, and so on produce around 97% of yam, which is an important opportunity, for example, for countries like yourselves who may not be familiar with yam and would want to import yam and experience how wonderful yam is. This it's a lovely staple food that some of us have regularly on our plates. Um, when I look at AfCFTA, I see that already with what is happening in East Africa, where they're doing tea and coffee. West Africa, we're doing some cash crops, yam, cassava, and cocoa, and all these things. How can we begin to to take over the continent, to take over the world in cuisine? After it's here, can we not have this African continental cuisine where each country is showcasing the biggest kind of food it produces? If someone approached you, what kind of food would you say Malawi has that it can complement this African continental cuisine that we're trying to build up?
Okay, all right. No, you are quite right to say that with the Africa continental free trade area, Africa could become a food basket, and that can actually help to feed the continent as well as the even countries outside Africa. And COVID has actually also taught us that. We have been relying much on food supplies coming from outside Africa, and we have seen how the COVID-19 impacted, supply chains, and to me, this somehow was a blessing in disguise, in the sense that as Africa, we can take advantage and begin to look at how we can become food sufficient in terms of investing in food production. We have got suitable land that is actually capable of enabling us to produce almost anything. For instance, in Malawi, you can actually produce crops, almost anything. You talk about maize, rice, legumes, pigeon peas, all these things. We are capable of producing them, and if we invest in good agricultural practices and production, cooperate with the other member states, we should be able to feed the Africa. So really, food products like rice, we are capable of producing them without any problem. Maize, which is our staple food, we are capable of producing them. Soya beans, all these kind of things, pigeon peas, can produce dal out of it, which is in high demand even in India. So it's one of the destination markets for products like toda coming from pigeon peas. So I should believe that investment in agricultural production, good agricultural practices, investment in mega farms, and actually, allow us to feed the continent of Africa. Because I think our industrialization should really begin with the resources that we have in abundance. Yes, we are talking about moving towards even, producing sophisticated manufactured products. But I think we can begin from industrial development, adding value to our agro produce. Because we have these resources in abundance, we have the competency, we have the competitive advantage, and then we move on to even sophisticated manufacturing. So really, within the context of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, I think we can divert food supply from imports from continents or countries outside Africa to actually, becoming self-sufficient and feed ourselves and even beyond the continent of Africa. So these are some of the food supplies which I think Malawi can also contribute to the food basket of Africa.
Fantastic. So an African continental cuisine is possible. Glad to hear that. I
Yes,
see that.
yes.
Just want to take a quick break here and see whether there are any questions anyone may have. For those who are on the platform, I think I see about 12 people so far. Do any of you have some questions that you may want to ask Honorable Mr. Maestro? If you do, kindly indicate and feel free.
The title honorable here in Malawi is reserved for special
category
for
president. Okay, we don't want any trouble.
Joking, thank you. Yes, yes.
Okay, so anyone with questions? Just a minute or two. I'm sure someone might have some questions that they'd like to ask. I think there's something in the chat. We're just trying to check that. But otherwise, if those who are listening can also ask the
Oh, he's basically covered it. I missed the part where you were you're talking about Ghana.
Yes.
And just yesterday, I noticed that Zimtrade in Zimbabwe, they went to Ghana. And they've been busy trying. They were in Malawi as well. They've been busy trying to grab markets, find markets for their companies and entrepreneurs and things. I know in Malawi we've got is it Malawi Investment? I forget the name. MITC.
Malawi Investments and Trade Center.
Is there a way that the Ministry of Trade, isn't that the Malawi Investment Trade Center? Isn't that the equivalent of Zimtrade? It's not.
Yes, is the one-stop service center for us, where they handle investors as an entry point for Malawi, but also they also look at the trade promotion as well. So investment as well as trade promotion. So it is indeed the equivalent.
Can't the Ministry of Trade? I don't know if the Ministry of Trade, they work together with them, if there's coordination, but isn't there a way that they can do something similar? Because I find Zimtrade to be very fast, like Rwanda Development Board and others. They're literally, when you think of something, they're already there and grabbing markets, because Ghana is, to me, there's a potential market. In 2019, I saw things like 2018, like shea, what do you call it? Shea is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Shea butter.
Even if you go to our markets, you find things like a China imitation of kente cloth, like the wax materials, the wax, what do you call it, zitenje cloth and so forth. But now when I went back last year, I noticed people have started ordering. I don't know if they're getting it straight from Ghana or if they're getting the ones made in China. So my question is, does the Ministry of Trade work together with MITC, or am I supposed to ask those questions to MITC?
It's a good question, Agnes. In fact, the Malawi Investments and Trade Center is our baby. Is a that is under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. So we work with them very closely. So what happens normally is that, for instance, in the context of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, the ministry has a line minister that is responsible for maybe policy development on trade, would negotiate for these trade agreements, would facilitate for these international trade frameworks. And in terms of implementation, we pass it on to them to actually now engage, for example, with the potential destination markets, buyers, or maybe with investors, or even linking our private sector here with the private sector in our areas of interest. So indeed, what you have described suits well with the kind of work that they are supposed to do. So within the context of Africa Continental Free Trade Area strategy for Malawi, we are looking at a number of interventions one, building the capacity of our export-ready companies in terms of, for instance, complying to standards, in terms of ensuring that they adopt maybe good technologies, equipment that will enable them to produce competitive products. Apart from that, export promotion is also one of the key areas, and this is the area that we have actually motivated the Malawi Investment and Trade Center to look at, because you can be in a position to produce competitive products, but if you don't promote them, no one would know about them. So we want through the Malawi Investment and Trade Center to engage in serious export promotion activities, maybe through even our trade attaches at our various missions, even undertaking, export promotion missions to, the destination markets that are of interest to Malawi. So, even the within the context of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, annually there are, intra-African trade fairs. Recently, it was held in Durban. So we would want to actively be involved in this kind of trade promotion or export promotion interventions, so that we can actually also showcase what Malawi is capable, of producing or supplying to these new markets that have been created by the African Continental Free Trade Area. So in short, I'm happy you have raised that, and these are some of the activities that we have prioritized, and we have motivated our Investment and Trade Center to pursue, so that we promote the competitive products that Malawi has prioritized within the context of this AfCFTA.
Good. So we need the my last point. We need, I don't know how much it costs to like ship from countries like Ghana to Malawi and so forth. I only know of one lady, she's in DC. She's opened a shop, but it's for Nigerian products. But let's hope in future that will happen, because when I'm there, I like buying materials, original materials, to make like little outfits. The last time I was trying to make like boxer shorts, but for Malawi, a lot of the materials from China. You find people are selling material, they'll tell you it's wax from West Africa, but when you wash it, it fades. It fades. That's what's happening. They flooded the market. So hopefully Ghana has good materials. I went to the market in Blantyre and I saw some women are getting it. So let's hope in future there'll be that cooperation. Are you happy now, Emmanuel?
Yes, I'm very happy to know that Kente will be featured in Malawi markets. No, but this is what we need to see. Practically, this is what we need to see. Why should we allow the Chinese to,
Last year I was there. I looked at the shop. Shea butter is becoming more popular than cocoa butter.
Yeah.
It's good for the hair, good for the skin. But then you find the Asians are taking advantage and they're going to start making imitations.
Okay.
I don't have anything against Asians. Sorry, I don't.
No, there's nothing wrong. But this is an African continental free trade area.
The recording will be like Asian. I didn't mean it that way, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Okay. Yes. No, I can attest to that. I have also myself some outfits made from textiles and apparel from Ghana, and really it's quite good.
And the material lasts long. Good. And then Kamuzu, our first Emmanuel, do you know our first president lived in Ghana?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
Oh yeah. Very good friend of Kwame Nkrumah.
So we need to use that to promote Ghana.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Others can answer the question because I can go on and on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
that. Thank you, Agnes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes,
for your excellent questions. So I guess on that note, we'll be winding down very soon. But it's good to know that we've had a very good conversation. We're very happy to know that Malawi has an implementation strategy. We've gotten a sense of the things that it wants to export, not just within SADC also, but on the continent at large. We also know what it is exporting to Europe, but that's okay. Bilateral, relations should still continue. It doesn't mean that we should stop those relations with the West. Yeah. It's just that we should focus more on building the value chains on the continent. I guess my final question probably would be to ask about something that I've been hearing for a while now, that there was supposed to be this ZMM growth triangle, the Zimbabwe, Malawi, Mozambique growth triangle, which started in 1999. And it's just, there hasn't been so much about it, but I hear from certain corners that Malawi is still interested in being part of this growth triangle where there's Zimbabwe, where there's Mozambique. There's a lot of commonalities that Mozambique shares with Malawi, even though the language is very different. One speaks Portuguese, one's official language is English. And then there's also Zimbabwe as well. Can you enlighten us on that, whether there's things like that also going on, which can help complement all that is happening around AfCFTA?
Yeah, quite correct. Well, indeed, for quite some time, I think our relationship, our trade has been happening within the context of SADC. But there have been, engagements between Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, and including Zambia within the context of the Nakara corridor. So we are really moving towards enhancing our cooperation in terms of trade connectivity, because for Malawi, the closest route to the sea is Beira, and we are also developing a little line to Nakara port that is passing through Mozambique. So, Malawi is landlocked, or I should say land-linked. So for us to actually have our goods, transported to other parts of Africa, as well as outside Africa, we really need to enhance our cooperation and our connectivity through countries like Mozambique. And for countries like Zimbabwe, for them also to get their products through the sea, it has been discovered that we are developing a little line, as well as improving the road connectivity between Mozambique and Malawi, as well as passing through Zambia, just to ensure that we have easy access to the sea through Mozambique, and also for fellow member states like Zimbabwe, Zambia, to be in a position to get or to transfer their products and transit through Malawi. So it is within that context that I see the cooperation that was there before being consolidated, though within the context of what we call the Nakara corridor. So we are really sure that the enhanced cooperation between Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe is going to help us to be in a position to reduce the cost, the transport costs. Because for Malawi, for instance, transport costs represent more than 50% of the landing cost of products in the country. So with poor infrastructure, with poor connectivity, it works to our disadvantage. And as Agnes indicated earlier on, if we are to facilitate intra-Africa trade, if we are to have our products, landing in Ghana at a competitive cost or price, then we need to improve our trade connectivity. Yes. For Malawi, for example, we are investing in trade facilitation projects. We are coming up with one-stop border posts infrastructures across most of our ports of entries with Zambia, with Tanzania and Mozambique. We are coming up with what we call national single windows, just to enhance, the way we facilitate, permits and licenses to our exporters. The whole idea is to make sure that we have seamless trade, and the costs of facilitating trade is actually significantly reduced and fast-tracked. In so doing, that's when we can be in a position to be competitive on the international market, as well as when it comes to intra-Africa trade.
Okay, fantastic. Good to hear. And on that note, I want to say that even as we end this great show, my last appeal would be that Malawi is encouraged to sign the AU's Freedom of Movement Protocol, signs and ratifies it, which will allow more Africans to be able to move through Malawi, establish businesses and that kind of thing. There's only been 4 ratifications, and Malawi is not one of them. And so disgracefully on our end, Ghana is also not one of them. But we will get there. We need to have a free movement of peoples and persons, visa-free movement across the continent as well. It needs to happen. You know, it can't just be talk about AfTA without people moving freely and paying exorbitant prices for visas. So we pray that that will also happen to make it a lot easier for West Africans to visit Malawi, you know, either visa on arrival or very reduced cost of visa. We pray that that is also an important conversation that can happen.
Quite correct. No, that is very true, and we are committed to that. And just to quickly mention that, you know, one of the studies that we undertook at the ministry is to look at how we can also leverage on trading services, and we discovered that the tourism as well as the, you know, exportation of labor, you know, would really enhance our exports. We always talk about mechanized trade, but trading services has proved also to be having potential. And without the, you know, this free movement, you can talk about the movement of labor from, for example, Ghana to Malawi, or from Malawi to Ghana. Countries like Ethiopia, you know, they are, you know, getting quite a lot of returns from the people in diaspora. So we want to also pursue, you know, this approach, and obviously this can only be done if we ratify and enable free movement of persons.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Mr. Maestro. Thank you so very much for your time, and really thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And once again, belated condolences for your, you know, for your grandmother. Thank you for agreeing to have this interview later date. We hope that we can have another interview with you much later in the year when things have also moved on with some of the agreements on AfTA, and then we can get a great update. Thank you to Agnes as well, who offered us very important questions. For all those who made time to also follow the show, we are very grateful, and we like to think there should be a part 2 to this. But this is an important opportunity to continue the conversation on building West and Southern Africa in a way that we don't always, or we're not always able to do. So, Mr. Maestro, with this, I want to say thank you. Have yourselves a great day, all of you, wherever you are. And I'm really envying you in the background of Lake Malawi. But I shall be having I shall be crying in bed tonight.
It was a pleasure.
Oh dear, Lake Malawi.
What do you do come and visit Lake Malawi? See, we have got a nice beach.
Okay,
it's far, but yeah.
No problem. But I mean, beautiful lake. But thank you once again. Have yourselves a great day. My name is Ike Benson Jr. We'll talk to you next time. Have yourselves a great day. Goodbye.